How's it going, everyone? As you know, the Brimstone Sands announcement happened recently for New World, and as such, it's been generating some interest and excitement within the player base. For this update, I want to talk about something that I am hoping New World and Amazon are already looking at pursuing, doing, and having interest in, and that would be fresh world environments with no transfers to them from current servers. They would just be completely fresh environments, essentially fresh starts, a soft relaunch in a way for many people with the game, after this year of development that it's gone through and everything that's happened. It really has gone through a tremendous amount of updates since the game first released. And so for many who left the game early on, there is a lot that has changed and they would be very lost on with returning. But I think the most important thing here about it would be fresh world environments that have no transfers. And the reason I want to stress about the no transfer thing is that a lot of players do want to give New World a shot again, but a lot of people feel burned by early things that happened with, a lot of like gold duping and item exploits that went on early on that really left a bad taste in people's mouths. And so people feel like the current economy is forever tarnished. And that, they've been away from so long, they don't, there's no point in them coming back now and trying to catch up to everybody. And it just, it's just one of those things that people would prefer the opportunity to, if they were going to come back to New World, they would want to do it in a fresh environment that hasn't been messed with over this past year. All right. And we can talk about some of those things as well. That have changed, but I want to use an example of what's happened. Currently there's been some recent players looking to come back to the game. There's been an influx of players once more, and as a result, there have been server queues. And so in order to alleviate some of the server queues, what they've done is they opened up some fresh servers that have transfers available to them. And this is an example of one of the servers that had transfers available to it within the first 5 minutes of it being open. A bunch of players from one faction all transferred over, bought every territory immediately, and as such, the map is now completely purple. Now, will this stay purple? Probably not, but if you were, say, a new player who had been looking to try the game and you were looking to, you log in for the first time after you get through everything, through the tutorial, whatever have you, and you open up your map and the first thing you see is an entirely purple map, and maybe you had the intentions of being Marauder or Covenant, this is going to be relatively dejecting for you. It's also maybe just going to leave like a bad taste in your mouth, because now you have to hope that there's enough people who were Marauder and Covenant that transferred over to the server as well, and are going to be able to, contest for wars right away, because clearly it currently looks like there's a ton of purple that transferred over, right? That are, going to be level 60 and ready to defend for wars and what have you. But new players are still going to take a few days, maybe even a few weeks for the average person to get to max level and be able to even possibly contest for wars, because they're going to be fighting against a bunch of geared people who have been playing the game. And so for any new players who started on this fresh world that they just opened up today, it's probably not going to be a great experience, because these players are also all transferring over with all of their items, their gold, and everything that they could use to immediately establish this massively inflated economy. And so this is really just not going to, I don't feel like this would be a very fun environment at all for a new player to get into New World on. All right. And so that's why I think it would be way better to have a fresh server environment. Just using this alone as an argument, I feel like for a fresh environment for new players with no transferring over, everybody's starting fresh economy, fresh items, no goal, like all the issues that happened on the release and everything not being there would be a huge starting block point for many people. All right. And to talk about that economy, right? Many people, when they stopped playing New World, items on the trading posts that were like really good items were probably close to around the 10 to 20K point. And now you're looking at items that are, 425,000 gold. Massive amounts of inflation has happened with items, be it from whatever have you happening on the servers, and just, all of these established economies and players are going to come back, and look to come back, and they're going to see how much money they have or where their gear is, because their gear is going to have gone through some changes because of the gypsum system and the expertise stuff, and they're going to wonder why their gear is at the gear level that it is, and there's just going to be a lot of different things for them. But for a lot of players, coming into this already established economy isn't going to feel good, and they're going to feel lost, and they're not really going to be sure what to do. So I feel like a fresh environment is a really big thing from an economy standpoint for the game alone. And this is where it talks about, this is where we bring in, should there ever be, if they did do fresh server environments with no transfers for an extended period of time, should they ever allow transfers? Because maybe those fresh world economies end up being completely different from the current live economies, right? They might end up being, everything is substantially lower priced, or they could all end up being substantially higher priced. And then that can lead to an imbalance in the economies if transfers ever opened up for them to really tamper with things. And that's something that I think some people would be concerned about if transfers ever opened up. But if they did, I would hope it would be well after an extended period of time where, the economies were very well established and whatnot have you. But, definitely having fresh worlds with no transfers for at least, 90 days or something, maybe longer, 6 months, whatever, would be really good for a lot of people, particularly people who are wanting to come back and would feel like they've missed out on too much. Too much has changed. I bet a lot of people don't even know that tuning orbs don't exist anymore. People are going to log in. They're going to see their tuning orbs. They're going to be like, wait, what do we do with these now? You don't need tuning orbs anymore to run expeditions. They're not a thing. Reagents, they're all only one type. They're all tier 5 green stuff now, right? So that stuff's changed. There have been changes to the gearing, changes to the crafting, changes to materials, and a bunch of stuff that people who maybe stopped playing the game early on and are looking to come back, they're just going to feel so overwhelmed, and being able to just start over the game again and go through everything once more and learn it all back is going to be a much more comfortable and welcoming experience than trying to jump in with this massive update where everybody's rushing to Brimstone Sands to get out there and experience the new content. And, they're going to come in, no idea what's going on with their gear, why their eye levels are lower, what's the deal with expertise, how does it work? Wait, everybody's going to Brimstone Sands. I want to go there. How do I get there? But I don't want to feel like I'm behind on my gear as a result, kind of thing. Just, there's going to be a lot of conflicting emotions for people who are looking to return to the game as it currently is. But, more than anything, one of the biggest things I feel like Fresh Worlds would do is, aside from creating a comfortable environment for a lot of people to come back to, and a much more relaxed environment for people to come back to, it would be a really good opportunity to show off all of this hard work. I've had a chance to play on the PTR and see this new leveling that they have going on in the early zones, and the changes to Monarchs and Everfall, and the new questing experience is really very well done. And for returning players, they're not going to get a chance to really actually experience all those changes. And I feel like it's a big missed and wasted opportunity for Amazon to have gone through this massive overhaul of the early zones and not do a fresh world environment where everybody would be going through and experiencing those zones once more and getting to do questing that doesn't involve just going to the town project board nonstop. For those of you that remember original release, where you spent 90% of your time going to every town board you could in order to level up. Meanwhile, on the PTR, I haven't touched a town board yet, and it's been amazing, right? Nobody wants to go back to having, the town board being their main thing of leveling for how they play the game. That wasn't an enjoyable experience. But it was the only real efficient way to get XP, because the questing was very dry and barren in the original release of the game. And that's changed now with what's happening in the Brimstone Sands update. And so, I just think those are some big key things, but I think more than anything, there's a lot of people who want to come back and experience the game in a fresh environment without any of the tampering or tainting that went on from the original server launch with the issues that it had. They want to experience a fresh release with fresh territories, fresh economy, no pre-established, factions and territories and economy. Again, just all the stuff that is currently there. There's a lot of people that want to give New World another chance, but they don't want to do it in the current server states that they are, with playing catch up or trying to learn everything while everybody else is off already ahead doing the new stuff, along with trying to figure out how the current economy is and whatnot. A lot of people just want to be able to come back and experience the game brand new and fresh, and have it be a second opportunity to really give New World a chance. And I think if New World does fresh servers, they can be a huge success. How many servers are needed? That is one thing that you have no idea, and how to even scope out what you would need. Because it could be anywhere from 1 server, 5 servers, 10 servers. Who knows? It can range greatly because of this update. If they announce fresh worlds, that could suddenly be like, oh, hey, there's 100,000 people that suddenly want to come back and try the game again, right? Because that's the thing about New World. A lot of people already own the game. Remember, New World peaked at 900,000 plus concurrent players for its original release. Some people refunded and they don't have the game anymore, but a lot of people kept their copies as well. So let's say, let's say that there's 300,000 people out there who kept their copy of New World, haven't been playing, and they hear that there's going to be fresh servers and there's all these new changes that have happened with mutated dungeons, dungeon difficulty increases, changes to weapons and the combat and the gear and everything. And it all sounds really good, and the update's going to be really awesome, and there's going to be a fresh world that they can start over on, and that means a new economy and whatnot. You could potentially have 100,000 people who want to come back and try the game again, but there's no real way to prepare for that, right? And so I think it's a matter of I would rather them go in over prepared with more servers than necessary, but announce very early on that those servers would be looking to get merged relatively quickly, depending on population. If in the first 2 weeks there's a couple, fresh servers that are just dead or really low on pop, that they're going to get merged into some of the other new servers, right? The ones that, the non-transferable fresh worlds, if they did it. Right. And I think that would be really good. People just have to be understanding of that. They probably wouldn't be. Gamers tend to be very not understanding these days, but that would be the best way they could do it, because the last thing you want to do is be underprepared, not have enough servers, and then there are way too many people who are trying to play, and X group of friends get on to whatever new world there is, and so they're dedicated to staying on that world, but then some friends are now stuck in a queue because there's too many people trying to play and there aren't enough worlds, and so you end up with all these people funneled on to specific worlds again, and they're like, okay, well, hey, we're going to open up additional new worlds. Well, you have the same problem you had on release again. You have people who don't want to leave their current world that they did get started on to go start over again on another new world once more. And that's just one of those things that's really difficult to balance. And, I think it would be better to have more and merge down than have less and end up with massive queues and people not wanting to transfer off, and then you still, or change over, and then you still end up with huge queues on a couple servers, and then you have some servers that are completely barren. Because I don't know, I don't think 1 would be enough, right? Because the server capacity is still 2K and 2 to 2.2 right now, and let's say for whatever reason they upped it to 3K, right? I think you would see a lot more than 3,000 people per region coming back for an update, for the update with fresh servers and an update. If they did that, there'd be way more than 3,000 people per region looking to come back, right? They've just made the announcement, and the current servers are already having queues, and they've seen a 10,000 player increase just from their announcement of their update, right? This isn't even the main, people looking to come back aren't even coming back yet. The update hasn't happened. None of the changes are in, it's still just mostly people who are wanting to come back a little bit early to get a jump on some of the stuff, or who would keep playing their current characters. But that's not even including people that would want to come back for like a fresh world environment, or would come back just when the update drops because they want specifically Greatsword, or they want to check out Brimstone Sands specifically, that type of thing. I think that they would see way more players than that. That's just my opinion, but I absolutely think that they should do fresh worlds. Whether or not they do, that's obviously up to them. I think it would be a huge missed opportunity. However, I've probably been droning on for way too long and missed some of my points, but you know, I feel so strongly about it that I felt like I had to make a video for it and talk about it. And you know, I can go on and on more and more about it, and I will over the next few days, I'm sure, on stream. And for those who are interested, you can find us at twitch.tv/Zav. We'll be talking about the updates and, you know, things that we're hoping to see over the next couple weeks with the game. So definitely drop on in there if you're interested. But for now, I think we'll cut it there. And, you know, we've made our point a little bit, but I really do think it would be a very nice opportunity for Amazon to push out fresh new servers for players to come back to and really give the game a new go again, a fresh go again, and try it. You know, give it a fresh start, make it a whole new world for them, if you will. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and hope you have a good one. Take it easy.